is Out Cincinnati, and this is Chris and Melissa right here on the banks. We're having lunch.
I'd rather be in the bank. In the bank, not on the banks. Hi.
You want to be in the bank getting some cash.
I want to be in the bank. Yes, I want to live in a bank vault. How's it going? It's Chris.
We were just talking about how much we love the Queen City and how much we love hanging out at the banks and socially distancing, of course. Mask up, 6 feet back, as Dr. Melba Moore says.
And you see my mask today has got puppies and poop on it.
Poop, not just poop. We went from the poop emoji to now puppies and poop.
Well, it's got puppies and poop on it. I'm not wearing it right now because I'm seated. And but to the table, I was a hit. It's great.
And I made a mask out of some strawberry shortcake material I found that I had from something my grandmother made me in, I think, like the 3rd grade.
Oh, that was all that fabric you were getting out of the trunk, right?
Yeah.
Okay. God, you're such a lesbian. Get fabric out of the trunk.
It's been interesting to... there it is. There it is. He's got it. The poop emoji.
Oh, it smells
mask.
like last night.
Oh. It smells fresh. I gotta take a picture of Chris with this mask on. Alright, I have taken a picture of the poop emoji mask, which Chris will post to social media just so you can see it. Because, I've been so excited about this. First he talked about it. It was a vision. It was a vision of Chris's, and then he made the vision a reality.
Well, I had to order the poop on Amazon, and then a family member helped me with the mask. And if you're gonna have puppies, you gotta have the poop that goes with them. I just figured it's a fun thing in a world of everybody wearing a mask, just to kind of, be the guy with a little poop on his face.
I love some of the creative masks that I've seen. The ones, that look like a mouth or whatever. Those are funny. I like those. But so, what creative mask have you seen out there? What has anyone been creative? Share that with us. Send us your photos, and we'll share it on Out Cincinnati social media.
Yes, it'll be. I want to see one where like someone has someone else's face printed on it. Where I'll get your face and you get my face printed. And that would just be...
I have seen some face swapping ones that are a little strange.
Messed up. Beyond messed up. I don't even know if you should order that. But yeah, some gender bending. Melissa and I will switch.
This is Penny Tration. You're listening to Out Cincinnati. You can support local radio at radioartifact.com.
Hey, this is Melissa. Stick around because you won't want to miss this coming up on Out Cincinnati. I talk with opera singer, actor, and baker Will Reed. Will clues us in on what's happening with the Cincinnati Opera and how you can still see opera performances in the Queen City. COVID, take that. Will also talks about his longtime spouse, who is also famous drag performer Tony Cody, also known as Penny Tration from RuPaul's Drag Race. Coming up on Out Cincinnati. Out Cincinnati is radio for the LGBTQ plus community and beyond. I'm Melissa. Out Cincinnati airs each and every Thursday at noon on Radio Artifact, WVXU-HD2, streaming live at radioartifact.com. Welcome to the show. I have the honor of speaking with Will M. Reed. He is a chorister. That's a hard one to say. With the Cincinnati Opera. Welcome to Out Cincinnati, Will.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to get to speak with an opera singer because I just love the opera. So let's first talk about what is happening with the Cincinnati Opera and what is it like for you being an opera singer, having to follow social distancing guidelines and being on stage with that, and what's happening with that right now?
Well, the short answer is nothing. Because of the way that we don't really know how the virus spreads. I mean, we do, but we don't as far as like when you are singing. And to keep our audiences safe, the opera and almost all the opera companies, obviously Broadway too, have canceled their entire season until 2021. So that hopefully some of this, our audiences could be safe coming back. Colleagues as well, don't get me wrong, but, ultimately we want to make sure everybody in the room is safe. So,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so what are you doing to keep fresh and keep exercising your opera chops? And are you able to do anything online, or what is that like for you right now?
We did get the opportunity to do a video recording of each chorister in his own home or her own home, and singing his part or her part of an opera chorus from an opera called Nabucco. And then that aired on CET. So that was kind of something that we all got to, I wouldn't say come together because we were all by ourselves.
So was that shot like on a Zoom video, or how did you manage that? Because I've seen the videos where, they have the different parts all singing in one video, almost like the Brady Bunch with the different blocks. So is that what it was like, or did you take some other approach?
No, what we were given was we were given a recording that we were all to follow. That was the same tempo, and then we got instructions from our chorus master, Henry Venanzi, who, is, of course, anybody who's been in the chorus can hear his voice saying these things, and like, like at measure 14, do whatever, So, so what we were assigned to do was individually just video it with a like audio and video track together, and then send it to somebody, and it was all mixed. So it wasn't, it wasn't a Zoom. The struggle with what would have been struggle with a Zoom, I would say, is that there is a delay. So we would all have to have started exactly at the same time, where 1 second was all at the same time, and then sing through it. But started a separate recording on each individual screen. Like impossible. It would be impossible.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Well, I'm sure it was challenging. Because I do audio editing and video editing as well, so I understand piecing all of those elements together. So was it difficult for you to just hit the timing right when you needed to? Did you have to record several times, or are you just you're magically on point every time?
I would say that nobody would be on point every time, and especially someone who is a perfectionist.
I get that. Yeah, I get that.
I had to do a couple of different takes. But the way the video ended up working is they didn't use all of the video. They just used the audio for most of it. Like, not your entire 3-minute clip. They would go in and out. So that was nicer than a Zoom, because, when you are in the Brady Bunch, it's all up there,
Exactly, the whole time. And you see some of those people too, they get a little off focus, and then you're like, wait, what are you doing?
Right.
What's happening in that left-hand corner up there?
Right. Absolutely.
So where can people find this? Is it still available to see, or?
I believe they were streaming it on the Cincinnati Opera website, cincinnatiopera.org. And they had a bunch of different concerts. I'm just in the chorus, so we are, when there's a full production, we are definitely an integral part of the drama and the storytelling. Um, but what they had done is with their young artists, they were able to have them record things, and some of them were recording live, like with a pianist there. I mean, not live, but I guess a video, but with a pianist with them instead of just listening to an audio tracks. And one of the participants, I can't remember his name, but he was to sing Figaro in The Marriage of Figaro this year, I think, or the Barber of Seville. Sorry, he was to sing Figaro in the Barber of Seville, and they had him outside at the zoo. So that way we were, socially distanced him from the pianist, and I mean that was the biggest struggle with all of it, and especially at the time that we did it, there wasn't as much research that had been done about how the spread happens and the aerosolized particles that come out of, one's mouth just normally talking can do you just up to 6 feet before it dissipates and there's no longer anything that would, be infectious. But with singing, I think the study is out now that it could be up to 16 feet,
Wow.
17 feet. Yeah. And to be frank, I have on stage made a consonant happen, and it go like I can see the spit go all the way across the stage. So it's like
Right,
you
right.
that
you don't want
like
that going in someone else's mouth or eye. Right?
Exactly, right, exactly. So and not just me, like all of my colleagues, like there's especially principals that are singing like Turandot, if she has to sing a hard T at the end of a word, it's gonna be, to the orchestra pit from mid stage. Right.
So since performances are often, there's been a couple of events. Do you think that there will be any outdoor performances here and there, maybe small groups for the opera supporters to enjoy?
They do have, and forgive me if I misspeak, but they do have a truck that has been going around. One of like the young artists and program coordinators couple, had like they were married and they live in town. And he had Christian had a cool like old timey, I think a 1960s, forgive me, Chevrolet,
Right,
like
yeah.
I can't remember, but anyway, they were going around and performing just out in the public, out in the open, and usually it was with couples that had been exposed to each other so that they could actually do a duet or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so they were doing, and I think that information is on CincinnatiOpera.org about when the next little pop-up truck, thing is going to be.
What a creative idea, though, to get the art out to people.
We got to do something though, because the other thing is that artists are crazy. Like we have to be creative. Yeah, I mean we do. Like we have to be creative. There has to be an outlet for that to come out, and if you don't, then you just stew in that, oh my god, what is going on all the time, and it can be like hard on your mind.
Oh no, absolutely, because I mean I know and I just so you know, I have a performing arts background. I was a dancer, classically trained, and I spent years as a competitive ballroom dancer and choreographer. So, but I understand, I'm older now, so I've kind of graduated out of my performing days, but it is really hard as a creative person if you can't get that out, like if you can't get it out. Right. So I'm so glad to hear that the Cincinnati Opera has come up with such a cool and creative idea to still be able to, interact with the people who enjoy their art. So that's terrific. Right. So you say you can find out more about that at the website, which is where?
CincinnatiOpera.org.
Okay.
O-R-G.
And I'm Melissa, and this is Out Cincinnati, and I'm speaking with Will M. Reed from the Cincinnati Opera. Will, you also do some You have a few different creative outlets. You sing, obviously, and you act, and you also cook, I hear. So, being a creative person, as we were talking about, what drew you to each of those acts as your creative outlets? Like, why singing and why acting and cooking?
Well, I think that the acting comes along with the singing. Like, you can't be on stage and create a character without having some basis. Even if you're like third man from the left, in the back of the chorus, there has to be something happening, that's going on in your mind to like embody that character and that mood and make sure that the story is being conveyed in the right way. So I think that's where the acting kind of came in. And so I took some acting classes a few years ago just to, brush up. And because when I was in my master's at CCM, I was, training with Nick Muni and who used to run the opera. And anyway, so a lot of the techniques that he had were how to create these characters. And so I don't know, that was in 2006. So about 5 or 6 years ago, I decided to take some acting classes just to brush up my chops, as they say, and make sure that I was on the right track. And I noticed that I really liked the connection that you could get to that emotional outlet in film acting rather than only theater.
And they're totally
I
different, aren't they? I mean, just totally different experience, performing wise.
Right. I think that my struggle with, and it was an exercise for me too. My struggle with, I would always been in theater where, I wish you could see me. I could say, I need to go over there, and I run my finger from like basically my nose all the way as far as I can extend it, right? But if I'm on camera, I say I need to go over there, and I can literally just shift my eyes, and where I'm saying, where I'm saying I need to go. So it's a little bit just more emotionally connected is film than theater is. And I'm not saying that a theater actor doesn't have emotion involved, but it's so exaggerated it has to be for, a person who's 300 feet away from you can still see,
Right.
what's happening.
Well, and I was going to say there's also the continuity. Like, that's what always struck me is doing a theater or a live performance. You're continuously performing. You are on stage. You're on.
Yes.
And then,
Yeah.
but in film, it's like, you're on. No, go stand over there for 10 minutes. Okay. Now you're on again.
Right.
Nope. Stop.
Yeah.
So it's from a performer's experience, how did you adjust to that?
It was an adjustment at first, for sure, because my experience had always been in the theater where I say that in a night you get to take the journey of the character from point A to point Z in 2 hours, right?
Right.
And in film, I think that the struggle that I had was you could be an A and maybe get to B in 7 hours.
Right.
So you're in that same emotion, and it's not because it's not because you don't want to go there and you have to know what A to Z is for the character, but in that day you could be doing the same scene 5 times just at different angles, and then also like each shot in the scene could have been done a couple of different times. So it's like it takes a long time for film to be produced and done in that way. Whereas the theater is you rehearse for 2 weeks and then you get to put the show up,
Right.
maybe 3 weeks.
Which do you enjoy more?
Gosh, I don't know. I would have to say that I like them both individually. I'm not a huge fan, honestly, I should say, of rehearsal process. I like to have figured it out and get to be the character. And I think that blocking rehearsals for theater are somewhat challenging for me because I get bored and, I want to do something. And I know that if there's a big ensemble that you're, pulling, okay, you have to tell Tom Sawyer where to go, and then you get to tell, this other guy where
Right.
to go, and you know what I mean? So it's like you had like to be patient. Now, in the same vein, it's no different than film, whereas like, you know, you are doing the same thing all day long, but you have to figure out a way to reset and then be able to go and reset and be able to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
and bring the same intensity to each take that you
right.
had. And that's
And that's,
hard.
yeah, yeah.
That's very hard. So are you the cast member who comes first day with your lines memorized and ready in full character?
No. I wish I was.
I was going to say, Will, if you are, more power to you, because
No,
it
I wish I was.
it always takes a
Um,
while.
yeah, I did. I was very fortunate with Cincinnati Landmark Productions when they opened the Warsaw Federal Incline Theater up in Price Hill.
Hmm.
I got to be a part of their opening production, and it was a four-person play. It was called, and they were trying to set the tone too of what the Warsaw shows were going to be like, because they were a little bit different than Covedale, which was a little bit more homey, Brigadoons and Oklahomas, whatever. And then the Warsaw, we did a play called Extremities, which is where a would-be rapist tries to go into a home, and he is not successful. That's why I called would be.
Hmm.
He's not successful, and his victim actually turns the tables on him and shoves him in the fireplaces and tortures him for a couple hours. And I was fortunate, and I say fortunate, to be a part of that production, because that's really what taught me how I could excel at dramatic acting, because I was always a comedy guy.
Hmm.
But to the major point, I was not off book until like Tech Week. And I know Tim Perino was like, "What have I done? Why did I cast this guy?" But when I got it, you know, when I got it. And I got death threats. I got, emails that were like, "Oh my God, how could you be so mean? You were awful," like that, and that was the guy. So I got it. But it took me up until, and I know Tim was going, "Will, come on." I'm like, "I'm trying."
You're like,
Like
I'll
I
get it.
knew.
I will.
Yeah,
It is
I knew it was going to get in there. Yeah. So,
sometimes, well,
yeah.
sometimes it is hard to develop your character, especially if it's a very intense one, like it sounds like that was for that play being
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
the topic
Well,
that
and
you
I
described.
had the I had the best colleagues too. Like I mean, Eileen Ernest was wonderful to work with, and she was Marjorie, who was the main victim. Uh, Katie Blood was wonderful to work with. I mean, like they were wonderful, wonderful casts, and they were so patient because it was my first time doing something like that, balls to the wall, pardon my French. Like being mean on stage dramatically, and it was tough, but it definitely, like, it put me over the edge to want to do um more dramatic things, film acting, that sort of stuff.
So when you do have to create a character that is not, I mean, all characters obviously are not you, but when you
Right.
have a character that is so different from who you are, what do you do to like build that or to understand who that character is?
I think that for me, I always, and what I was taught with Nick Muni, in the opera class, so it all full circle is you have to decide and discover what things in the character are like you and what things aren't like you, right? And once you know those things, you can pull from the things on both sides. What isn't like me? Okay, I need to bring that out. Or what is like me? I need to really bring that out. Um, I would say that as far as like the rapist terror guy, I'm definitely not that guy, but I can
Right.
find anger, like
Yeah.
I can find anger. I can be angry. Um, and, you know, So I think as far as developing a character goes, it's just a matter for me of finding those things that are different and on each end of the spectrum and honing in a way to somehow um, displace the feeling of it and be the guy, become the guy, I should say. Because at the same time, like at the end of the day, I want to go grab a drink at the bar with everybody. I don't want to sit there and be that guy. Like I
Right.
would say I'm
Well,
definitely not a
yeah.
method actor. I'm not a
Right.
method actor when it comes to that.
Yeah, so you're not brooding all day and
No,
yelling at your cast members or something like
no,
that.
no, no, no,
Okay.
no. Most of the time I'm like, sorry guys.
You're like, and scene. I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about that.
I know. I hear you on that. I've had a similar experience. This is Out Cincinnati, and I'm Melissa, and I am having a wonderful conversation with Will M. Reed, a chorister. So I can't believe I can say that with the Cincinnati Opera. So tell me about how your journey began to become an opera singer and a performing artist. You are from Tennessee, so tell me what it was like growing up there and what was your coming out experience like and how you developed in your artistry there.
I'm an only child, and I used to. My parents still have a farm. Like I grew up on a farm. Um, they have cattle. We had cattle when I was a kid. I think my dad's dabbled in everything he can to make money. History repeats itself. It's just a different generation, you know. But So when I was growing up, I was always singing to the cattle. I'm not joking. Like at the barn, I would sing, and of course they would look at me like, what the hell is going on with this guy? And then I got into high school, and I shouldn't say it started way earlier than that. I was in talent shows when I was a kid. And we didn't have karaoke tracks back then. They had them, but we didn't have them. We couldn't afford them in, rural Tennessee. So I used to sing like over top of a recorded track. And I think the first thing that I did a talent show with was Boot Scoot Boogie by Brooks and Dunn.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then later on, I think because my voice hadn't changed yet, I sang Fancy by Reba McEntire.
Oh, yeah. That is a
So,
classic karaoke song.
Yeah. So that was like sixth grade or so. And I think people saw something in me that I didn't really see a talent in. I was like, I just like doing this, like whatever. So then as it progressed, I got into high school, and my choral director, Kelly Shipe, was like, Will, you need to take voice lessons. And I was like, okay, I'll take some voice lessons. What's it going to hurt, So I took some voice lessons, and like Ann Jones at Carson Newman College, I think it's Carson Newman University now, anyway, in Jefferson City, said, well, you really have something in there. So I just kept taking lessons and, started exploring classically singing and discovered that I had more of a classical style voice that I could use, than the old country or pop, and Kelly had gone to CCM when she was an undergrad, and she brought me up here, and I had some interviews with a couple of people. And my undergraduate degree is actually in music education, because my parents were very smart when they said, you're not getting a performance degree. You need something to fall back on.
Right.
And of course I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I knew everything, whatever.
Right. You're like, what do you mean?
Yeah. Well, and so I have an undergrad in music education. So I think that this will be. I think that a lot of LGBTQ plus can empathize with this. I didn't come out of the closet until after I had finished my master's. Now, I was out to all my friends, but I was also in Cincinnati and 280 miles away, 81.4 miles away from home,
Right.
quote unquote home. And when I came out, I knew that I was financially safe. I had a job and I was going to be okay. And I knew that if I had come out sooner, then I could have potentially been cut completely off.
Hmm.
And, so it's a little self-preservation. I had to take care of myself.
Right.
Um, so also, I had met my partner right like in the summer after I had finished my master's, right before I started my new job. I had met Tony, and I was in love, and I literally could not imagine, other than the fact that I knew it was time, I could not imagine having this relationship and lying about it to my parents. And I was like, I
Mm.
can't do that.
So the impetus for you really like coming fully out was, or at least out to your family, was falling in love and
Yeah,
wanting to
I
share
mean,
that with your family.
correct. And I think that that is not everybody's journey for sure.
Right. Sure.
And I knew that I had to take care of myself financially, and they were paying for everything. Now, I did put myself through my master's, so I knew that all of that was happening, but my mom was still paying half of my rent, through my master's, because she's like, you're doing this for yourself. I had a graduate assistantship, so my school was free, and then I was getting a little bit of a stipend. It wasn't much, trust, but, enough to pay the other half of the rent and then buy groceries, basically.
Just to squeak
So,
by.
yeah, just to squeak by. So, I when I met Tony, I wasn't in school anymore, and I was working on getting my job, and I had the job lined up and everything, and I just couldn't imagine like going with this relationship and not, whether it lasted or not. Like I was like, this is the time. I can't lie about this anymore. So, um, that was my coming out story. But that's when I came out in 2000, September 26, 2006 is our first date, and uh, I came out by October 10th or something like that. So we got married on
Oh,
February 29th, 2008. Now that was before it was legal in Ohio, so we did have a ceremony. And 200 of our closest friends came to our house, so that was nice.
yes.
And then the rest is history. Like
So 12 years
we've been,
together, right? So celebrating 12, is that right? 12 years together.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Or
12
you're
married
married,
years.
married.
Yeah, yeah. 12 married years. Yeah,
12 married years. So,
yeah.
so as a couple, and living as an openly gay couple, what do you see has changed as far as people's attitudes, especially since marriage became legal for queer people?
Um, Gosh, what has changed? I think that a lot of people are definitely more accepting. And I think that, um, I mean, so we ran a bar, and I feel like we're different. Like we're just a different couple. Like Tony and we ran the cabaret Above Below Zero. His drag name is Penny Tration, and he was the
Yeah,
MC.
we didn't
Um,
mention that your husband is Penny Tration. So
yeah.
because
Oh,
we are
sorry.
focusing, no, I know, but we are, just so our
Yeah.
audience knows, we weren't trying to fool you, audience. It's just that
Yeah.
today we're focusing on Will. So
Yeah.
yes, but yes, so you go on. So you were running the club.
So we were running the club, and I just think that our experiences are a little bit different. The thing that I noticed as we started transitioning out of being the managers of the club, which we really liked, but I feel like at one point it became about um, not a safe space for queer people anymore, and it was taken over by like and I don't think there should be segregation between straights and queers. I don't think that necessarily, but I still think that we as queer people need a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
And even in our quest for equality, right? We still want some place where we can go and I can kiss somebody if I want to, the same sex, and I don't feel ostracized for that. And if you do that at a straight bar in OTR somewhere, the bros are going to be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And that is still, that
That
still
still
does happen.
surprises me. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, it's
Right.
unfortunate, really.
Right.
So, being married to Tony, and
Uh-huh.
how has, with his popularity or his success, I guess was the way I'll put it. What is that like for you, and how do you balance in a relationship with two performing artists, and what is that like for you?
I think that ultimately what we kind of decided together is that we were putting a lot of brand equity into Penny Tration. Um, he's obviously the face of it, but we both worked on it. Like we both worked on making sure that that was something that was popular enough to make us enough income.
So really,
Um,
penetration is a creative endeavor of both of you together.
yeah, I would say so. I mean, I think so. Let me back up a little bit to our relationship. Also has entailed as soon as I finished my master's, I was talking about that job, right? So I had a job at CCM where I was a scheduling manager, and I worked there for 6 years. Now that 6 years spanned from 2006 to 2012. In the meantime of that, 2009, 10, like housing bubble burst. Everybody lost their jobs. I was lucky I got, but Tony lost his job in corporate America. So we started, he is talented in making wigs, jewelry, and drag and all that sort of stuff. So he started a business and of making all those things, selling them on eBay at the time. And by 2012, it had grown enough with what that he needed help. I quit a job at CCM, and we had our business together where I wrote books and he made the wigs basically. So when I say it is an endeavor with both of us, I truly mean like it's what kept us alive, like that's what kept going and paid our bills. And that's why I think we're so intertwined in it, is that we needed it, and it was something that the needed from us, and we were able to provide it. You know what I mean? Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So, how
Yeah.
do you feel about it now, and how does it blend in with your own creative endeavors?
Um, I think that there is definitely a sense of it will always be there, no matter what, and I don't care. I feel like it is part of us, and that's okay. Like it's that part of us that will never go away, and I'm happy for that. Um, Recently, in order to make money in the past few years, I've been in voice lessons. You know, and school shutting down because of the pandemic, we're
Right.
like, what the heck is going to happen? So in the spring, I did continue to teach, and I don't know that I can do it again. Just me, I don't know that I can virtually do that again. But I am an avid baker, and I have kind of basically started a little out of my house. Now,
Sorry, you're just fading out just a little bit.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So you were just saying that you are enjoying baking now, and just telling us about that. So go ahead.
Okay. So whenever I endeavor for coming performing after, in whatever, casting calls oftentimes would say, we need your IMDb, we need your Instagram, we need all these things. We need the stats to be high, because what they want to do is, not only do you have to be a talented actor, but you have a following so that money from you and hire you, right?
Right.
So I happen to be good at baking. I'm not the best, and I'm learning all the time, but I really like the science behind it, and I feel like I've, done some research and figured some things out. So I applied for all of these baking shows that you see on TV. So like there was one on CBS, I think that was in 2014. It was called the American Baking Competition, or American something like that. Jeff Foxworthy was host. Well, I got to the final casting round, and they flew me to LA, and all this stuff. And I had my interview with the producers. There was like a room full of 20 CBS producers there, and they started asking me questions, and I was like, okay, I just answered the best of my ability, because that's what you're supposed to be, as yourself, right? Well, the one lady looked and said, "You've never made a tart?" Question mark. And I was like, no, but I'm sure if I had a recipe. Of course, I didn't say bitch, but anyway. So anyway, you need to know how to make a tart. You need to know how to make all these things. So started a blog. I called the blog a long time. I tried to baking actor, and there was already an actor in Cincinnati, and I was like, well, I can't do that. So then I talked to Michael Monks, who is at the River News, and he was going to sponsor some Facebook videos. It kind of fell through, but out of that meeting came Will Bake Food, and I did Will Bake for Food for I think 2 solid years. Along the way, still auditioning for getting into pretty far along round of American Baking Competition on ABC, holiday baking competition or whatever that is. I got into those rounds, which, is always the bridesmaid, never the bride, like I'm just trying to trying to get there. Meanwhile, the thing that I was going after, my stats on Instagram and all that sort of stuff wasn't like built. And I was like, oh my God, well, what am I doing wrong? Why isn't it working? And not to say that it was all for naught, because I really enjoyed doing it and we liked eating it. So I was like, what am I losing here? After 2018, maybe 2017, I like, okay, so I'm a lot of time doing this, and I'm acting, what I was hoping to do. So I kind of discontinued the blog, and I was like acting, like trying to do films and whatever, doing, student films for free and all that sort of stuff. You got to have a resume and all that. Demo reel. So anyway, then I was teaching all along the way, still baking, learning, all that. And this past year, when the pandemic hit, when school shut down, we were like, what is going to happen?
Yeah.
Theater stopped, and we were like, what is going to happen? When I didn't have opera anymore, I'm like, what is going to happen?
Right.
Like, and you know,
Panic button, big time.
yeah, it was like panic mode with Penny Tration. We started advertising some baked goods, and we're like, whatever, we get to eat it. Now Tony's mad now. Tony's mad because he don't get to eat anything anymore. um, so for the, and this is very, very short-lived for right now. But for the past month, every week, I've at least 30 dishes that I've made, and people have been very gracious and buying them. And we kind of went through a competition of what would be a good name for a bakery if we ever did it legit. And we had the whole, we had like 20 that we like narrowed down. People voted online, Facebook, on the registration page, like, so it was all, this is all, like I say, this is a part of us. So we voted and it down to 10, then narrowed it down to 5, and then narrowed it down to 2. Now, some of them we had to cut out because there already one existed, that was Williams Bakery, or Williams Kitchen was nice at like White, and we had to, that one already exists too. So we're like, well, damn. But we decided on is English Woods Bakery. So if anything ever happens with it legit, English Woods Bakery is what it's going to be. And
so why English Woods?
The reason why we chose English Woods is because it is where we live.
Oh, okay.
We live in Cincinnati on the west side, but we live in what is known as English Woods. And the unfortunate history of English Woods in Cincinnati is that it's where the projects were. But they're all gone now. And I think that something to revitalize and rejuvenate the area. And if I'm it, that's cool. If I'm not, then that doesn't matter. But, I think for now, all my friends have been very supportive, and I haven't tasted anything in about 3 weeks because I've, it's out the door.
Because they're all buying it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what kinds of foods do you bake, and what's your most popular dish?
So, like, I had to do like themes, and this is all like the British Bake Off, because like in the British Bake Off they have, this is cake week, and this is pie week, and this is biscuit week, whatever. So I tried to do pie week this week, and I've made a bunch of pies, but most of all, I think the thing that people like the most from bakery so far is we make this focaccia bread, and we started putting floral designs on it with vegetables. So like we'll have tomatoes of different sizes surrounded by onions, and then like little green onions to be like the tulip, like it looks like a tulip. So little green onions that look like the stem, and then the mushroom patch at the bottom that it's all kind of coming out of, and
boy, I wish Chris was here to hear this.
I'm sure he's
when he listens to this part of the interview, Chris will be just know where I'm thinking of you, darling. Okay. And this is Out Cincinnati, and I'm Melissa. I am gladly speaking with Will M. Reed, who is a core chorister with the Cincinnati Opera, and also the wonderful spouse of Penny Tration, as we are have been talking about for the last few minutes. So, and your bakery. So you don't have a brick and mortar store yet, right? You're just selling things online.
Yeah, it's just at our home. And I say that so far it's been friends. It's like I'm making stuff for a friend's cookout. I don't know that brick and mortar is ready yet. I think that we're still in the testing phase. Is this going to work? Is it something we can sustain? Gone through 50 pounds of bread flour in the last 10 days. So,
Well, it sounds like you're doing almost like a private catering sort of thing. So if
yeah.
anyone's interested in eating your tasty cakes or other baked goods, how would they go about finding out how to do that?
So for now, I don't have a website developed yet, and like I said, we're really just taking it slow. But you can follow my Instagram for picture stuff at Will M. Reed, REED, on Instagram, or you can add me on Facebook either as a friend or just follow whatever. And I think it's facebook.com/Will M. Reed. I'm singing videos sometimes because that's me. I feel like performing artist is what I am. Entertainer is what I am. And it's taken me a long time to be confident in that, like I'm nearly 40 and it's like, oh, I have a little bit of imposter syndrome a lot of times when it comes to things. So, but
that you should not do that.
yeah, though. I mean,
yeah. So I also want to go back just to some of your performing arts stuff. So you're baking, but you're also, will you pick back up with the Cincinnati Opera when it comes back for next year? And besides baking, what are you doing in between there to perform?
Performing is next, until at least January. Hopefully, I'll get to perform a little bit. One of the things that I'm going to be doing with one of our friends, Brooklyn, Michael Cotterill, is he works for Robert Rothschild Farms LLC and make jelly jams. And we're going to start doing, he's going to get me to do some videos for him, making recipes that are on their website. So, I'll be performing, quote unquote, entertaining, but demonstrating how to make the recipes on their website, on their social media.
Oh, cool. So we'll get to see you as Chef Reed, possibly.
Yeah.
Awesome. So how can where do people look out for that?
Again, just follow, if you want to, Instagram or on Facebook. I'll be posting on those platforms primarily.
Cool. Well, Will, thank you so much for being with me here on Out Cincinnati. Sadly, sans Chris, but I really enjoyed speaking with you. And I hope you will join us again sometime. Keep us updated with what you're doing around Cincinnati and with the Cincinnati Opera. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It's certainly been a pleasure.
Hey there, it's Penny Tration. You're listening to Chris and Melissa on Out Cincinnati.
And we're back on Out Cincinnati. Chris and I are on the banks, in the banks, around the banks.
A few Diet Pepsis in.
Enjoying this beautiful day by the Ohio River.
Melissa, I was watching these guys ride these scooters. You know those scooters they have that you do your credit card and ride it around and leave it in the middle of the road?
Yep.
I was thinking I'd go get on one in a minute here.
Oh, very nice.
I don't know if it's been a while. I don't know if I'll be able to balance. But yeah, that has nothing to do with the gay world, but I was just looking at those scooters.
Well, I mean, it would be gay if there's like a gay man like yourself riding on the scooter.
I know it would be a really cute story is after I fall and break myself on the scooter, if the paramedic is cute and we have one of those like tragedy fall in love scenarios like from Speed. You know the movie Speed, where they say you never can meet somebody in drastic circumstances and make it happen. Well, my paramedic's going to be cute, so let me go injure myself.
So your plan is to jump on one of these scooters
and get hurt.
Go careening down a very steep hill.
I'm going to go down the serpentine wall.
Crash into the serpentine wall.
And be saved by John, the paramedic. He's 25 and just out of school.
That is a rom-com waiting to happen.
Yes. My insurance is good enough to fall in love.
What would the name of the movie be?
I don't know, but it'd be
Scootin' to Love.
I don't know, but it would be a 5-second film because I'd be on the ground.
Oh, so who wants to see Chris on a scooter? Because I do.
That's better than on a one-wheeled bike.
We got to make this happen. We're gonna get some photographic evidence for everyone that I will later use for some other purposes.
No, that's all good. I mean, I'll pick up one of those scooters and give it a try. I won't even put my credit card in.
I have not tried one of the scooters yet. Listen, okay, I'll be honest. I love skateboarding, but when I was a young Melissa, I had a skater friend.
Okay.
Some skater friends who are always trying to get me to skateboard, and surprisingly, not for me. It looks like fun, but when I get on the board, it's a disaster every time, and I
spend more time on the ground than on the skateboard.
Exactly, it's a short trip to the ground.
Wow. You never forget how to ride, Melissa.
So, but hey, all the skaters out there, what's up?
All the skaters out there,
love to the skaters.
You're cute, and I love your porn category.
I love the skaters, but so let's see if we can get Chris on this board here.
Like my stepdad said, you can do anything once.
If it doesn't either kill you or get you thrown in jail, right?
Yeah, anything at least once.
All right, everybody, we're out. Chris and I are going to be roaming the banks.
And my Diet Pepsi just got here.
If you'd like to find out more about Will Reed, our guest on this week's show, you can go to willmreed.com. That's WILLMREED.com. And to find out more about the Cincinnati Opera, you can go to cincinnatiopera.org. Thanks for being with us this week. This is Out Cincinnati, streaming live on radioartifact.com, 91.7 WVXU HD2, and at 1660 AM.